Hello. Today we are calibrating the Anycubic Kobra 3 and the A1 Mini. Looks like the Kobra 3 is done. So this particular calibration test does a couple different flow rates, higher and lower. Try and lock in the flow rate of the specific filament you're using. This is high flow PET G, so its flow rate's kind of weird to me. So that's why we're calibrating this. And I figured, I'm calibrating the Kobra, why not calibrate the A1 Mini at the same time? If you guys have any questions about these printers, feel free to put them in the chat. But I'm just kind of running through the motions today. So it looks like looks like we might want to knock it up just a little bit. What does the machine do? It 3D print stuff. Like this cool sword. Hello. So yeah, right now all the printers I've got linked down here are at least $100 off. If you have any questions about them, feel free to put them in the chat if you'd like to get one. Tap the shopping area at the bottom of the screen. How do you do this calibration? I actually didn't know until today. It's pretty cool. So, if you go to your slicer, for bamboo, there's a button right here that says calibration. For Anycubic, there's a button up here that says calibration. And there's a couple different calibrations you can run on the machine. I will say it is a little easier to do it on Bamboo Studio because they send it to your printer and then you enter whichever one you like and it changes the values for that profile kind of for you. Whereas with the Anycubic one, you have to go in and edit those values yourself. It's not hard to do. Once you figure out what you need to change, you're really just messing with pressure density and flow ratio. That's the ones I'm calibrating today. So yeah, not too hard. Yeah, I said I was gonna knock it down a little bit. And I just did step 1 on this one, so we're gonna go to flow rate pass 2. and it'll self-generate here, and we'll slice that up and send it over to the printer. And then for the A1 Mini, I think I actually messed up the first test because the corners on these just look terrible. So I'm going to go back and run the first test again and see. I think I just read them wrong. So instead of doing this like corner one, I'm going to do a straight line one. That one was a lot easier to read. That looks like this. And you can see there's like some thin spots up here, and up here it gets a little wide. And I could find the best one pretty easily on this. So we're gonna run that. And then, yeah, on the bamboo, we'll run that other one. So yeah, these both of these printers are pretty sweet. This is the Kobra 3 combo from Anycubic, and this is the A1 Mini from Bamboo Lab with the AMS combo. They both right now can print with 4 different colors. The Anycubic can hook up a second one of these and print with 8 colors, which is pretty cool. The Kobra definitely has a bit of a bigger bed than the A1 Mini, but this one is much easier to use, especially if you're like a beginner. They're very good at like holding your hand throughout the process. Their software is really clean and easy to figure out. So if you're looking for like a first 3D printer, like a starter 3D printer, Bamboo Lab is a great way to go. I've got a bunch of them linked down here, and they're all at least $100 off. And if you want something really cool, especially for printing with PETG, the Kobra 3 has a built-in filament dryer, which is really handy. The A1 does not. If you have any specific questions about these printers, please let me know. And thanks for watching. Let's go. So yeah, this is kind of a boring step when it comes to 3D printing, but it's really important, especially if you want really good quality. Going from something like really rough like this to a little bit better like this to really locking it in. It'll make all your prints look good if you can lock in a couple settings from the get-go. So that's what we're doing today. We're calibrating these printers side by side. If you're in the market for one, tap the little shopping bag down here. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. Both these printers do auto bed leveling before the print, and they clean the hot end before they start printing too. They can print with multiple colors, and they're both pretty fast. I think this calibration test is really interesting, so we're gonna take a really close look at it. I mean, you don't have to, but I started using high flow PET-G on the Kobra, and the flow rate on that is just like way different than anything I've worked with. So like I had to lock that one in, so I was like, I might as well calibrate this one while I'm at it. And it's really not the printer you're calibrating, it's the filament. At least with these calibrations. So you can kind of see the deviation between the lines here, how it gets much worse on this side, and it gets a little tighter here, but it's still not quite complete line, like there's still a divot in it. So the range of what I measured is a little off, so I'm going to drop it down on the next go around and see if we can get a bit closer. It's lower than I expected. So it's not so much the temperature, it's it's the flow rate that the plastic moves through the nozzle. So yeah, I'm going to change the values on this test, go a bit lower. We'll run it again. Yeah, I'm not sure when I'll go on Whatnot again. These printers have kept me pretty busy. And I've got another one coming in, believe it or not. I got confirmation this morning that I'm getting a Sovol SV08 350 by 350 by 340 millimeter build plate. It's going to be huge. Yeah. I have no idea where I'm going to put it. I'm probably going to have to move the Kobra over here. It's about an hour of assembly. Like, I've been doing a lot of research on it since they let me know they were going to send me one. But I'm pretty excited. This bad boy's getting after it now. Do I use glue? Sometimes. So this build plate's relatively new, so I haven't had to put anything on it yet. The same thing with the smooth build plate I have over here, but the textured build plate I have has about 500 print hours on it, and for that I do use Disappearing Purple's Elmer glue. It looks like this. And when you put this on a textured plate, it has a tendency to like clump up in places and not really spread out well in others. So I do suggest using like a damp rag after you apply some of this to kind of spread it out and thin the layer of the glue so you don't have a bunch of like clumps in places. But it works pretty good. Well, I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm trying to educate you. Yeah, I'm trying to learn at the same time, you know? If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If you're in the market for a 3D printer, tap the little shopping area down here. I do earn commissions if you order from there. So I appreciate you taking a look. Thanks for watching. I have too many tabs open in my brain. Oh man, you should see my browsers. My wife goes crazy. She's like, how can you possibly have 24 tabs open? And I've got a lot going on. And that's what's great about having two 3D printers is like you can do more than one thing at the same time. But yeah, today we're just doing some basic flow dynamic and flow rate calibration on these machines. Pulled the trigger yesterday on the A1. Let's go. You're gonna love it. It's a heck of a machine, especially printing with PLA. It does a killer job. Yeah. See, I'm working on my camera skills. But I was just telling them a little bit ago, I got confirmation that I'm gonna get another 3D printer to show off. It's a Sovol SV08. It's massive and intimidating. Now you're gonna have the Mini, the A1, and the older printer. Yeah, that Sovol is intimidating. Oh, that looks much better. So for those of you who were here before, we saw a lot of this on the earlier test, but these lines are like looking much better. Yeah. Oh, and we're actually starting to see it like counteract on the other side here. So we should be able to find the nice balance right in the middle. That's what we're looking for. I think we're gonna find it. What did I change to make it better? I changed the values I was measuring. I had them a little too high. So I measured from 0.05 to 0.03, and those were all a little too high. A little. So for this one, I measured from 0.03 to straight up 0, and I think that's a much better range. So I can actually see like the middle ground on it. So when we find the one that looks the best, we're going to go put that information into the slicer and create a profile for this specific filament. So when we use this filament on this printer, it will print nice. That's the plan. Okay, so I didn't know this was here until like earlier today, but it's always been there. You see this button right here? This is calibration. You can just run through calibrations, and it'll like make them for you and tell you where to put the numbers in. Like, it's a really nice way to do a printer calibration. Again, Bamboo like holds your hand through the whole process. So yeah, check out that button right there. There's two calibrations you can do in here: flow dynamics and flow rate. I would run through flow dynamics first. That's going to give you these lines, and then once you get that locked in, go to your flow rate. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. And don't, yeah. It's pretty good. So we'll let this cool down a little bit. Try and figure out which line looks the best. I think it's like 0.16. That looks really nice and clean to me. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Maybe one lower. What do you think? Y'all want to vote on it? I don't know if you can see the deviations right here and right here where it's too wide and too thin. And then up at the top here, it's too wide and too thin. You're trying to find the one that's just like a perfect line. I think it's 14. On 16, I see a little blemish right there. I don't know, 16 looks really good too. Yeah, we'll do right in the middle, 15. That's what we'll do. So the test we're about to do here is the one we're already performing on this printer. So we'll try and get them both in frame. This is the flow rate calibration. So we're basically looking for which one of these rectangles calibration. So we're basically looking for which one of these rectangles